making another 6 max video here on 1020 on both stars and on full tilt. On the left table, I'm just going to go through the players that I know and my reads on them. Fu Manchu, I sat intentionally on his right because he appears to be a weaker player, only buying in half stacked. I don't have any hands with him or anything, but just basing off of his sack size, he's definitely one of the weakest players on the table. Number 2, Pencil. I've played a bit with him actually. He's a fairly tighter player, however, in the recent times I've played with him, he seems to be a little bit more aggressive, especially with his pre-flop play. Sexy Gee, I believe, is a lower stakes player, and I don't have a ton of reads on him, except usually he's pretty tight, but when he tilts, he's a maniac for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and raise it to 110. Made it a little bit bigger just because I probably have the best hand and I have position and I don't think he's folding. My guess is he is like ace king or ace queen here. He just insta 5x's my raise, so gonna go ahead and get it in. And not good here anymore. Yep. Alright. We just got another player sitting here on the left, Magooch. It's good that he sat on my left as well, so now I have the 2 weakest players on my whole table that I have position on. I wanted to say something about really the importance of position in especially 6 max games. It really matters in terms of win rate who you have position on. If I'm sitting here versus sitting like here, the difference in my poker tracker big blinds, especially with looser, weaker players, as these 2 players probably are. You really want to be isolating them and picking on them, and you can do so way easier with position, and it matters so much. It's like the importance of position is just incredibly multiplied by having position on these fish. So additionally, on my right-handed table, I have Sam H. Seems to be the only familiar player to me. He plays a ton of 6 max. I think that's the only game he pretty much plays. I've played a ton of hands with Sam, and I know his game pretty well. I'm gonna go ahead and bump it up here. Sam's a pretty tight player in early position, but like probably the majority of the better players right now are a lot looser in late position, especially when they have deeper stacks to their left, which obviously makes sense because you want to be playing more hands when you have position and have a huge advantage. So then I have the guy next door, who I'm going to check right now to see what other tables he is on, to see if he is a regular or just what's his story. Okay, so he's playing 5, 10, and 10, 20, so he's probably not a great player, but definitely probably pretty good in this game. He's probably here because he's taking a shot, and maybe this GTI man is a weaker player. I'm not really sure. Because this is actually not... I mean, Sam H is a really tough regular, and he's just not going to be making much money from him. And then there's the 2 short stacks, so I don't know, I'm going to look up this GTI man too. a GTI man's playing a 2-4 heads up table against Steve's bets. Okay. So that really doesn't tell us a whole lot about him, but I mean, I really doubt that he could be like a high stakes grinder if he's playing a 2-4 heads up game, which is obviously probably not even worth his attention if he's playing way higher stakes. So he's probably one of the weaker ones on the table. It's really important to think of this kind of stuff especially when you just open up a bunch of tables and start robot playing. I mean, it really, really, really is better just to think of everyone who's on the table, think of who's better than you, think of who is positioned on you, and just really kind of try to estimate your edge. King Queen offsuit here on the left hand table. Very easy raise. If number 2 pencil 3 bets me here, I'm no way in hell folding. Oh, and what do you know? Just gonna check my notes that I had. Okay. Think for a while and call here. Oh, this guy double up. Let's check that in a second as well. I'm gonna float him here. Just because I think when he's bluffing, he's betting this flop every single time. And now, let's see. Now I can't really, I mean, there's a lot of hands he can shove if he's 3-betting me with smaller suited connectors, but there's not a lot of, you know what, I guess maybe this wasn't the best flop flip versus him in retrospective, because he's not one of these 3-betters who's just going to like 3-bet you, c-bet the flop and give up. He's going to be shoving very marginally on the turns, especially versus someone like me, who he probably knows is capable of floating this flop. And also, I'm just kind of remembering the hands I played with him and what hands he likes to 3-bet, and all of these low cards are hands he loves to 3-bet, so I actually really, really, really hate my play here versus him, now that I think about it. So, do as I say, not as I do. Guess I'm raise calling versus Mr. Sasson, and probably raise folding versus Pie Master. So yeah, that hand, I mean, it's really good for me to think about these things because sometimes I'll just automatically do something and not really think about the specific player. And from what I know from this guy, I definitely think that I shouldn't have floated there. Should have probably just given up. Looks like this full tilt table is dying down a little bit. Gonna try to look for another one, but it doesn't look like there are that many running. Okay. Maybe we can start on your table with one of these guys sitting out. Here we go. Okay, and oh, it's a deep table, awesome. Even more fun. And I'm going to be sitting out on this table next time it gets around to.